All right, this is going to be a 6-minute video, and it's kind of hard to start a 6-minute video without any scripting, no bullet points. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. Except for I make an idea in my head before I start these that, like, this is what I'm going to talk about, and the rest is up to me. The rest is up to me to just fill in the gaps, talk about the rest of my heart's desire. This camera is is my day-to-day journal. This is not supposed to be popular, it's not supposed to be great, but it's supposed to just talk about my experiences and just improve my speaking abilities, not necessarily just talking, but like articulation and speaking in public. If I were put on the spot about, certain topic, I need to be able to give you substance. I need to be able to talk about this thing not only with a bunch of fluff, remove the fluff. That's the whole goal. But to talk about in such a way that is engaging and informative, like actually will let you walk away with something learned. And today we'll talk about kind of a depressing topic. I hate talking those, but those are the most interesting. Psychology is amazing. But I took this chemistry class in college because I didn't take the advanced placement in high school, so I just had to take it in college. No big deal. It was basically the same class. Um, I had a teacher named Peter. Peter was very, very nice. He was not the best teacher, but he made up for in just his absolute fire and passion for wanting his students to understand things. Sometimes that backfired on him, but other times, in my case, it actually helped me get better and want to learn chemistry because my chemistry teacher in high school got fired the year that I took her. So I didn't know jack squat. There's a good reason she got fired. She didn't teach. She had no idea what she was doing. Unfortunate. But with Peter, I come in there with a really closed mind and I'll be like, this is going to suck. I'm going to hate it. Get through it. Head down. Take notes. But Peter opened up something and he's just like, this is a cool subject. He opened up my eyes and was like, well, he did it for all the students. He did it all for all the students. His passion for chemistry was infectious. I was sitting there watching him explain something when a student asked a question and he answered it in such a good way because it was exactly how he wanted that student to ask and he just went off and I could just I'm just sitting there like, wow, why is he so passionate about this and I'm sitting here, you know, hating life. It made me completely reorganize the structure on that. It's like, why am I choosing this suffering? There's no reason for it. So he let me, he was a very gracious grader. He let me get away with a lot more things that ever should have happened in the education system. I'm super grateful for him to do that. He shouldn't have done that. It would have taught me a harder lesson than it would have now. But I remember bringing in some super late homework. I'm like, dude, I've been hauling my butt off to get this done. Here's all the papers. He didn't care. He just set it on the desk. And I was just like, all right, thank you so much. I begin my little spiel like, thank you for letting me catch up this grade. He's like, no, no, no. I can understand. I've been where you are. And this is what he told me. I have been where you are in this situation. I have gone through the college and I have a language barrier, right? That it impacted me a whole lot more. And going through college was really, really tough because it's when that time is, or it's when during that time you realize one of the most important lessons, just not the one of the most important, but you realize a very important lesson. And that is nobody cares. Two words, nobody cares. And to get in more depth, nobody cares about you. Nobody is in high school and middle school, right? You got teachers that are just striving for your success. You got grades that are just going for you. You're forced into these classes that when you do actually participate into them, they build up your self-esteem and your confidence, which that's great. It's really great. And I mean, I'm not saying that all kids should be forced into stuff, but it takes a little bit of push for people to realize what they actually will like and will not like. But he's like, in college, none of that stuff exists. You're not expected to do anything. You are taking money out of your own pocket to pay to be here. And suddenly the expectations reverses. You expect, instead of the teachers expecting all of this from you and you're rising up to meet that goal, it's the other way. You are you're expected to expect great things from your teacher. You're coming in here with a greater than thou attitude, and I expect to be taught, and I need to be taught because this is my money and I'm paying for this. And that is a complete dynamic shift from high school. Over 6 minutes, I don't care. We're going to keep talking about this. A complete dynamic shift from high school. It is from going from that encouraging. Some people might not find it that encouraging. That's fine. Yeah, it's pretty tough sometimes in high school because you are in some of the most fundamental building blocks of your life in those days. Like, you become way more hormonal, right? You're growing up, you don't know who you are. In college, you're kind of expected to find that out pretty darn fast. But it's still really tough because, again, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about you in college. And no, don't expect anybody to care, right? In high school, it's kind of superficial because you're young, you're doing things that basically everybody else can do, but you're given this extra time to try to strive in those areas, and you do the best that you can. But in college, when you get there, the it's a shell of what it was in high school. The life is gone, right? You are diving into these super heavy topics that require way more your brain power to understand and then do the work about. But you're also required to, you know, step up, become your own adult. Sure, people have done that in high school, and that's no problem. Like, tough relationship with the family, tough tough circumstances in life. But generally in college, right, you're moving out, you have to go statewide, state across the state, United States, to go to a whole different place, whole different college. That's the kickstart for most people. Is like, yo, you're doing everything by yourself now. You're feeding yourself. You're now teaching yourself, right? These teachers only teach you the basics, the fundamentals, and then you have to go through all that curriculum by yourself. It's it's not, some classes aren't every day. Some classes are, twice a week, once a week, and you're just expected to pick it up on your own. But all through that, you kind of have to keep a good mindset because that's when the real killer can come in. That's just straight up depression, right? When you're doing this and it's just like you're thinking, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? And you don't have clear answers. You don't have like the certain I need to answer those questions right now, like written in ink answers. Like, I'm doing this for future partner, or I'm doing this for future job. Then it falls apart really fast. Now, I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but you've got to have a clear picture in your mind of what you want to do, or else it's going to be way harder on you. If you're not reminding yourself what this is all for during college, there's nobody around you that's going to remind you, right? You're going to be expected to pick up that slack. That's just something I realized shout out to my chem teacher that gave me that just fat fact of life. In college, nobody cares. It feels like nobody cares about you. He did assure me that there are, in fact, people that do, but you have to do it by yourself. No help is coming for you. You are still loved. Remember that. There are still people out there that love you. But this is a time where this work and your work ethic, your will, your determination has to pull you through. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Pretty long video, but anyway.